Hi, today we're going to read the story called Two Bobbies, and it is a true story of Hurricane Katrina, friendship, and survival. So, just looking at this, I can make an inference right away. Remember, an inference is making a guess that's putting the pieces together. So, I'm going to use my background knowledge, which is things I already know, and clues from the text to figure out what might be going on. So, remember, an inference is kind of like a guess, but it's an educated guess in the sense that we are taking knowledge we already have and then combining it with things in the text to make an inference. So I read the title, Two Bobbies, a true story of Hurricane Katrina. Now, Miss Weisel was old enough when Hurricane Katrina went through. I don't know if you were born yet when Hurricane Katrina went through, so this might be a little bit hard to make that connection. But then it said friendship and survival. And hey, I have some ideas on how to be a good friend. I wonder what I'm going to learn in this story. And then survival. Survival sounds fun, but also maybe kind of scary. So I'm using my background knowledge, maybe my own experience, to make that connection. All right. Neither Bobby the dog nor Bob the cat has a tail, and some say that's what was brought with them together. No one knows for sure how they met. Perhaps their owner had a soft spot for pets with no tails. But the two Bobbies, as they've grown and now come to be known, were each exactly the friend the other needed at the exact right time. This is their story. The city of New Orleans on the mighty Mississippi is a place where many people and pets call home. Jamming with jazz and dressing up fancy for Mardi Gras, it bustled with life day and night. But on August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina bore down on the city and everyone who lived there, including a wisp of a cat and one puppy. So a hurricane is like a really big storm. Winds roared to 110 miles an hour. That's really, really fast. Thinking about the interstates we drive on, that's only 70 miles per hour is the limit. So 110 miles per hour is really, really fast. Rain poured hard and fast. Strong winds pushed walls of water from the Gulf of Mexico into Lake Pontchartrain. Some of the leaves holding back the lake gave way. Water poured into the city deeper and deeper. People who had stayed through the storm were finally forced to leave their homes. They had to say goodbye to everything they loved. Many of them were told that they would have to say goodbye to everything they loved. Many were told that they could not take their pets. Bobby and Bobcat were left behind. Bobby had been tethered with a length of chain. Bobby Cat stayed by her side. Together in the silent heat. They waited for help to come. That's pretty sad that the pets were left behind. That would be really sad if that happened to my pets. After the storm, volunteers from across the country came to New Orleans to lend a hand. They brought food and water. They rescued people and stranded on the roofs of homes, and they rescued many animals. But with so much damage and confusion, the two Bobbies were not rescued. Their food and water was gone. Bobby finally broke free. She dragged along the broken chain with the bobcat close by her side. In early days after the hurricane, the two Bobbies tried to make their way at oily water littered with debris. After the waters receded, they traveled the buckled streets with no place to call home. That would be very scary. That's probably where the survival part is coming in. Month after month they passed as Bobby and Bobcat wandered in devastated city. Their days and nights were filled with danger. Packs of hungry, homeless dogs roamed the streets, fighting smaller dogs for food. Where Bobby and Bobcat chased away from any scraps that might have been found. With little food to eat, to clean water to drink, Bobby's ribs began to show. Bobcat's brown sugar makings started to fade to a dull white. That'd be really sad. One day in January, 4 long months later, Bobby and Bobcat strayed into a job site. A construction crew hammered and sawed, fixing up the motel damaged by the hurricane. A worker's dog rushed over to play with Bobby. The dog's owner, Rich, noticed Bobby Cat too. He saw how thin the two strays were and began feeding them. He trimmed Bobby's chain, leaving enough to jingle on the ground because Bobby Cat looked and liked to follow it. But every time Rich tried to touch Bobcat, Bobby growled. After a week of caring for the two Bobbies, Rich got some bad news when his boss came to the job site. He had been given permission for one dog, but not two dogs, and a cat. He said Bobby and Bobcat had to go. Rich was determined to take care of them to a safe place, but Bobby still growled whenever Rich got too near the cat. She could and would not let him pick him up, or even touch her friend. So Rich rattled a bowlful of kibble. Bobby followed the food to Rich's van, and Bobcat followed Bobby. Rich drove them to a temporary shelter that Best Friends Animal Shelter Society had set up for the celebration station, a former video game arcade. The shelter was completely filled with homeless dogs and cats, but a volunteer welcomed them in, even naming them Bobby and Bobcat for the bobbled tails. They were placed in the separate rooms. Well, that would be pretty scary if you were used to being with someone. All night long, Bobby howled and barked. Bobcat paced back and forth. No one could sleep with Bobby making such a ruckus, so volunteers made a large pen for her and put Bobcat in the same small carrier inside Bobby's new cage. Bobby lay in the front of the Bobcat and whimpered. The volunteers opened the small cage to see what would happen. The two Bobbies touched noses together again at last. For the next few minutes, the volunteers studied Bobby and Bobcat. They noticed how Bobcat stayed close to Bobby. They saw how that he had walked and his neck stuck out and how he carefully lifted his front paws, placing them down as he was unsure of what to do and might to do next. Someone waved a hand in front of Bobcat's face. Bobcat did not jump back. Another volunteer waved her hand, but Bobcat did not even blink. Everyone was stunned. Why do you think that was happening? Bobcat was blind. All that time on her own, Bobby had been Bobcat's seeing eye dog. The volunteers, even an ace pet detective, searched for their family with no success. 1 month later, Celebration Station closed its doors. But Bobby and Bobcat still did not have a home. There was only one thing left to try. The two Bobbies made a television appearance on CNN's Anderson Cooper 360 Degrees. The very next day, the Best Friends family volunteers left New Orleans. One of them drove Bobby and Bobcat to the Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in Utah, where they would stay until a new family could be found. They were on their way west when the news came in. Hundreds of people wanted to adopt them. It would take a very special family to adopt them together. The volunteers made a list and invited everyone on to come and meet the two Bobbies. Only Melinda and her Boston Terrier Gus Gus made the long trip to Utah. The next night, Bobby and Bobcat had a sleepover with Melinda and Gus Gus in one of the cottages on the sanctuary grounds. Would the two Bobbies choose Melinda? What do you think? Do you think they're going to choose them? The next morning, everyone knew the answer. Bobby and Bobcat were stuck to Melinda like Velcro. They also liked Gus Gus, and he liked them. Finally, Bobby and Bobcat had found their new family. Now they live with Melinda, Gus Gus, and Amelia on a ranch in southern Oregon. Bobcat was and has a window seat in to sit in. He likes to play with a robot vacuum cleaner. He turns it all on by himself. Bobby helped with the ranch chores. She goes along on the horse rides. On hot days, she lounges in the front in the Frog Fairy pond. At the end of every day, Bobby and Bobcat snuggle up together. They have toys and treats and lots of new friends, even a camel. Best of all, they have each other. This kind of just talks about after the storm, and these are actual pets. So this story is a true story, and that's kind of what it said in the title as well. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you are going to be able to make some inferences along with this story. That's what we're going to practice today. Have a great day. Bye.